Hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
So I just want to start very briefly with saying that I feel so. This night seems very special to me. I feel like I'm still one of the people who have been dancing for a short period of time. I've only been dancing for 4 years, and to have both someone who's been dancing for such a long time and really helped create this community to make it what it is today, and to get to share it with people who've been dancing for an even shorter period of time, just really makes this night feel really special, and makes me really feel appreciative of this community that we have here in Copenhagen. And Pierre is one of the people who've been dancing for a long time when I started dancing in Copenhagen, so he's really the one who's able to say, like, have the historic dancing in Copenhagen at least. So welcome, Norma, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Give a big round of applause. I gotta say, I was kind of a nervous wreck when I picked them up at the airport, because my big dream since I met you, Norma, the very first time was I wanted to come to Denmark, to Copenhagen. At long last, Uffe and Mauricio said, we got her, would you like her? And I spoke to Uffe on the phone. I said, are you mad? Get her here. And with no further ado, I was like the queen of swing, the last whitest Lindy Hopper swing dancer, only 97 years old, Norma Miller.
Thank you for finally. Listen, I said, you waited till I'm 90? I've been around 90 years. Now he tells me to come to Copenhagen. But I am delighted to come. I'm delighted that enthusiasm has lasted and endured. It's wonderful to think that something that we began, I think before most of you were even born, that you are interested in a rhythm that was so important to our lives, that it gave us a whole new perspective on life that went around the world. But that this year, 2017, the enthusiasm is still there. To you, I thank you. I thank you so very much, because, believe me, I live by the oath of the great Duke Ellington when he said, honey, it just don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
About Duke Ellington, and it don't mean a thing.
Yes.
I heard a story that you actually came up with that term. Is that correct?
No, that was all his. I use it a great deal because it says everything that I want to say about the rhythm. But I was fortunate to work with Duke Ellington, to work with Louis Armstrong, to work with Chick Webb, to work with Count Basie, and include Ella Fitzgerald. These are the people I personally, my career was involved with all through my life. So I am delighted to say the great Duke was really the one that said it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And I've used that all through my whole career, always. And you will find that out tonight when you dance. I hope you dance. You do dance, don't you? And I was fortunate to meet the most wonderful man he speaks Italian. Do any of y'all speak Italian? Anyway, this is the wonderful Mauricio Angelo. The Billy Brothers Band, which is just the greatest band I've ever worked with. And I'm so thrilled at this stage in life to find my music being recreated with the Billy Brothers led by Mauricio. Mauricio.
Thank you. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I used to say it's something I didn't expect. I couldn't expect in my life to meet Norma, and I mean it's been a long trip because we really started with the band 27 years ago, so we couldn't think about we're gonna meet someone who was living amongst the great people that we know as Duke Ellington, Count Basie, and all the others. And, So it happened 4 years ago. We met Roberta, that is my stunning partner. Where are you, Roberta?
Where is she?
Roberta is there, Roberta Bevilacqua. She's the one who really started this playing. Because we met Norma 4 years ago in England at Goodnight Sweetheart Festival.
Right.
And we said, okay, I was shocked. I really was shocked because, I mean, all I knew about swing, about dance was because I read books, I listened to records, I never spoke with someone, except Cap Calloway. I met Cap Calloway once. But really, I never had the chance to sit down and talk, you know? So I was really thrilled, but she went beyond. She said, we gotta do something, not just talk, we gotta do something, because she was singing one of her songs, and we say, why don't we try to record the song and see if she likes it? And she said, we did it. She came to our town, Pescara, in Italy. We had a festival for Norma, and she heard the song and she said, I dig it, I like it. So here are some more songs. So the thing's still going on, because we have now the record that you can see here. That is Swinging Love Fest with 5 of her songs. For the first time, she never recorded.
They threw me a lifeline. Can you imagine, at this stage in my life, they gave me a CD. I'm a dancer all my life. Nobody ever listened to me, but they heard the songs, they loved it, and the band began putting together my music. Oh God, I died and went to heaven. It's unreal what happened here. It's a miracle. It's so wonderful that at the end of my life, it's almost like the beginning, because I began with Count Basie and Chick Webb and Duke Ellington. And here at the end of my life, I have Duke Ellington, Chick Webb with me every night. How wonderful could that be? Now, to end your life with perfect harmony and perfect music, God, we have the magic, and I found it in this wonderful man.
Obviously, being compared to Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and Chick Webb makes me embarrassed a little bit.
But it's amazing that they recreated an era that I was raised in. You got to realize I danced for 70 years. 70. I mean, every part of the 20th century dance world, I was part of it. And I worked with the greatest bands in the world. Now, unfortunately, most of them have gone on. And now we've dug them up in Maurice and these guys are so great. God, I adore them. I said, I'm hearing music that I heard all my life. And that's what we're bringing to you tonight.
And I want to as well thank the guys in the band, because they've been working hard because and it's not easy to write down new songs and work with an artist that comes from the States. So you have to find time. With 10 in the band, so it's not easy, you know, to have 10 people all together. And so I must say thanks to the Billy Brothers as well for this great work that is still going on. Because we're now recording a new CD.
Yeah.
Now recording songs for a new CD. So this one was out on December, but hopefully, I don't know if we can do it for the end of this year or the beginning of the next one. There will be another one. With this one will have 7 new songs from Norma.
It's amazing.
I'll tell you something. Today it's just 1 month that she's with us.
Yeah.
She arrived on the 22nd of September.
After a hurricane in Florida. Oh, God.
We met at the airport.
Yeah.
And she said, "Hello, Maurice, how you doing? Norma, how you doing? You fine? Okay, yes, I'm fine. Here's a new song. Listen, I dig swing." I just started like that. It was like that, really. 2 minutes after we met, she was singing the new song. You know, that's Norma. She never stops.
Well, I can't dance. My dancing days are over, but I began to write it all down. And I've always had music. I hear music. I hear dance steps. And he was fortunate enough, this book that he put together was, and he did it very wisely. He put it in English and in Italian. So he rewrote one of my books in Italy, We did all of this in Italy. And I don't even know the language. But they have a musician there called Christian, believe me, the piano player. He knows what's in my brain. I mean, have you ever met anybody like this? This is wonderful. I adore him. Anyway, I'm so happy that music, they've recharged my batteries. Do you realize at 90 that you feel enthused about something? You know, usually everything is gone out, and it's just, they just gave me more interest. And I watch dance. I don't dance anymore, but I stand in the bandstand and I watch people dance, and I enjoy what I'm seeing. I'm seeing dances as good as we were. Ooh. I used to say, you can't believe it. They dance the dances today around the world. And I travel around the world, and I enjoy what I'm seeing. So they've given me a new life. I'm not part of your era. But believe me, I enjoy what you're doing just as much as you do. And I hope we do that again tonight. Yeah.
So talking about the book, so we have the record. Everything started with one song. We had the record. And after that, I had the chance to read her book, Swing Baby Swing, the original one that she wrote in 2009. But it's not easy to find, to have it, because they press, the producer, they just press one copy. You order one copy, they press it for you, so it's going to be even expensive. And by the way, I said, wow, this book is very interesting for those who want to go beyond music, because in this book there is everything about Lindy Hop, from the beginning till today. So there are some parts that we miss. It's not easy to find news about Lindy Hop or the dances that came after Lindy Hop, but from Lindy Hop in the 50s. What happened in the 80s? What really happened when the Swedish guys and the English guys went to the States to talk with, to look for those who were dancing in Elsa Poppin, in the movie, in the part of the movie called Elsa Poppin. And what happened? So everything is here. So I said to myself, this is very important for those who want to know. This book is very important. So first of all, I thought to translate it in Italian, obviously for the Italian community. And then why don't put the English text? Because the original one is not easy to find. So we did it. And then working on it, there were notes to write, because maybe Per may know every name that you find here, people, dates, and everything, but not everybody. So I say to myself, maybe if I put some notes, so I start 1 note, 2 note, 3 note, 15, 20, you know. So it came another book inside with the notes. And I asked Norma some new pictures, and so in this edition there are pictures that were not in the original one. So this one is really good, and there are pictures of Norma Miller made last year, so brand new pictures on stage with Norma, with band. So I say it's very important. And when I gave her the copy, she said, she saw it, she said, that's fine, now we have to bring it to everyone. And I say, what do you mean? Let's have a tour. Really? Yes, like I did in the 50s with Count Basie. We take the coach, we go in a town, we play, right after playing, we take the coach again, we move to another town.
What was the first?
Sure?
What was the first city?
We went Salso Maggiore.
I can't even say. Then we went to
Genova.
Then we went to
Bassano del Grappa.
And
then to Florence.
Florence.
And
then Rome.
No, Ljubljana, Slovenia. We went to
I
Slovenia.
can't even pronounce, but
Ljubljana.
And last week
Rome and then Milano.
And last week we were in Milano.
In Milano. And this is really the last one.
We had 900 dancers on the floor.
Last week in Milano. Yes.
Last week.
900. Yes. And it was a Sunday.
Wonderful.
Yes, it was a Sunday. They expected to have 200, 300 people. We were sitting during lunchtime. They said, okay, we expect to have 200, 300 people. They had more than 900 people.
Dancing on the floor.
Dancing on the floor. I mean, it was, wow.
It was just wonderful. And so here we are now in wonderful Copenhagen.
Nice play.
Thanks to you, Per. Thank you so much. I think we met in Harang.
We met in Harang.
Was that where we met?
The first time was at Harang, the second time was in UK, and the third time was at Prankers 100 in Harlem.
And you just finally getting around to me?
Exactly.
I thought we just met the one time in Harang.
No.
That 100, Frankie 100 was a ball, wasn't it?
That was a ball.
I mean, it was fantastic. It was just fantastic. But anyway, thank you for asking me to come.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Oh God, yes. I love it. I love to meet new dancers. I love to meet new people. I mean, this is all I got to do for the rest of my life. I mean, how much time do I have left?
Hopefully a lot.
I hope so, but the fact is I'm still standing. And I can still dig a good swing. Can you dig it?
What else do you need? I was thinking that I know most Danes here are not so much into the history yet. How many people are aware of the movie Hälsopopping and that famous clip with Whitey's Lindy Hoppers? Oh, good.
Got a whole lot of people. So all of y'all saw it. Wonderful. Hey, that was us at our peak. It was amazing because we made the movie and we were booked that weekend in a place called Rio de Janeiro, in a nightclub called the Casino de Oca. So we were top of our game. We got there on the 5th, opened on the 6th, and Pearl Harbor comes on the 7th. So all our work was like, you couldn't believe it. We were lost for the next 40 years because everything changed with the war and whatnot. They ruined us after our greatest time, but we found the revival in the 80s. Thanks for you guys looking at Hälsopopping. Thank you.
I was wondering, Norma, if you told me a little bit about the story behind Hälsopopping, but could you tell the audience here how much you work on the actual routine in Hälsopopping? How much you practice and...
Well, we spent 5 years. It was a 5-year event from dancing every night, working it out. Eventually, it came from the fact that we became a dance act out of it because we were trained to be a dance act. But we played theaters with people like Basie and whatnot. We did Hälsopopping 4 shows a day. I mean, this was an ordinary show we did every day, but we worked with Chick Webb the same way with Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, this is what our act consists of. And it eventually came to the place where it became part of a movie that was produced by Olsen and Johnson, which was a comedy team. We became their opening act. And from there, they put us in the film with them, which became the dance routine you saw on film was what was the results. That took 5 years of constant dancing 24/7. I mean 24/7. Well, that's how you become a dancer. You dance, and unfortunately, the rhythm changed after I think around the 45 or something, because bebop came into the music, which was not danceable. Now, we are being pushed aside. We're not hearing our music. Now, it's all changing. So how do you survive? That's when Frankie had to go in the post office for 37 years. 37. I said, what the hell? I mean, what the heck? So I I was trying to get his ass out of the post office. And the result of it, fast forward, he met up with Leonard at a place called Harang. And he found what he was looking for. And he became the teacher that everybody was looking for. He became the great teacher. And that was how Frankie and Leonard built Harang. And now I think they're in their 35th year. And it's just wonderful. I said to Leonard, who the hell you think is going to come over to Sweden to learn some damn Lindy Hop? This year, 59 countries came. That was how, it's the greatest movement in dance in the world. That is this thing. I always say, twist, turn, never stop. You can't top the Lindy Hop.
So,
where are we?
where are we? We are in Copenhagen. This is the very first time you are in Denmark, because you've been traveling all around the world, but so we're proud. We're really proud because you had your first time here in Copenhagen.
And I'm standing on the bandstand with some of the greatest guys in music, and that's as good as it gets. That's what you all being turned on. Even at my stage in life, you can get turned on.
So if you would like to make questions, Norma is glad to answer because now she knows everything. Now she knows everything. You got to ask.
Any questions out there? I do have a few, but I would like to see if you, the audience, got any specific questions for her.
I can do it without the mic, right? I just want to hear about, so how did you end up going to Harang?
Well, because when I went to Harang, I had written a book on swinging at the Savoy. And I took it to Harang to introduce it because Frankie was teaching there. So I went to take the book there. And consequently, I end up winding up, now I go the last 2 weeks every year at Harang. So I will spend the last 2 weeks, the last week in July and the first week in August I spend in Harang as I travel around the world now. But I love what they did. I love the fact that Frankie became a great teacher. And they turned out great dancers because they had the first group called the Rhythm Hot Shots. Now they got another group called the Harlem Hot Shots. I don't know why they call Harlem. They're all white, but it's okay. But that's the reason why I go to Harang, because it's the greatest place where I can communicate with all dancers from all over the world. And I love that. Any other question?
I have
Go
one.
ahead. Go ahead. This lady back here.
What are your songs about? If you can put a little words on it, please.
Oh, you're going to hear them tonight.
I know, but I want to hear your words before we hear them sung.
Okay. I'm a new woman today. Just want to say one thing. If it don't swing, it just don't mean a thing. Can you dig it?
Could you tell us a little bit about the Savoy Ballroom? We've never been there. We only read stories about it.
Well, it was a ballroom that opened 1926. I lived in back of the ballroom. Our apartment faced up, you know, in those apartment tenements, you have fire escapes. So in the summer in New York, it's hot. Your air condition is open windows. So we would sit in the fire escape and watch the back of the Savoy, and we could hear the music because they too had no air condition. So there was big, wide open windows. So when you got a 16-piece band on the bandstand, That's coming into my living room. So I used to sit there every night watching the Savoy. And the Savoy was a place that was a block long. You look, figure this place twice as long. And there in the middle of it was 2 bandstands that played music continuously. And out of this music was developing a dance to go with that music. Remember, dance follows music. The music is played, the dance is created from that music, and that was that place, Savoy Ballroom, where the greatest bands, especially black bands, came to play. And I had the opportunity to listen to them every night. So I used to go to bed with a swinging lullaby. That was my life in Harlem, in back of the Savoy.
When we're talking about Lindy Hop, in Europe, well, back in the old days, but also today, people lots of time, they do give me the question, what is the difference between jitterbug and Lindy Hop?
Well, jitterbug was never a dance. There was no such thing. It's like everything else. America continually like to come up with something new. Benny Goodman was standing back when he played the Paramount, and he pulled back the curtain and he looked out, and the kids was dancing in the aisle, and he said they look like a bunch of jitterbugs. But that was only a statement, but it caught on to giving it the dance a name, but it had nothing to do with the dance. It was the kids, as I said, it was the white kids who they gave the name to, and the white kids was the one that kept the dance going, and they called it jitterbug. But they don't know the ass from the elbow. What do they know? It was Lindy Hop. Charles Lindbergh took that flight across from 1927, crossed the Atlantic, and all the newspapers that day were spread out. Lindy Hop. And they asked Shorty Snowden what he's calling the dance he was doing. Shorty Snowden said, I call it the Lindy Hop. That's how it got its name. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime I tell a story, you can bet your bottom dollar, baby, it's true. Because there ain't nobody around can dispute me, because ain't nobody around.
When we dance today, we have the so-called social tempo, as well as faster tempo, the performing tempo.
I see it. Yeah.
Was that the same thing back in the days?
No. Listen, you got a thing called social dancing, which is wonderful pair dancing. Then you got this solo, what they call solo jazz. It's fine. But when you dance and you don't pay attention to the rhythm you're dancing to, I don't know what the hell you're doing out there. So what I see looks like mishmash. You got to dance to what you hear. They don't hear. Well, they're learning, but it's a learning process. Most dancers who came up with this was tone deaf from the beginning. You dance to the rhythms. That's why I wrote, give me the gosh darn beat. Give me the beat. Give me the beat. That's what it meant, because you got to hear it. And but now they want to do this social dancing, which is fine. But if you're going to do social dancing, dance to the music you're dancing to. Don't give me something that's flirted over with rhythm. Please, when you come to me, you better know your rhythm. That's why I don't teach. You have to be a finished dancer for me to even take anything. I was asked personally, Norma, we would rather you not teach. When it comes to dancing, and it comes to jazz, remember, I came up with the jazz experts. And that's why I'm a jazz expert in choreography. I'm a jazz choreographer. Don't give me BS when it comes to dancing. And that's what I see most of the time in this social solo dancing. It looks like nothing, it sucks.
Fortunately, luckily we had Frankie Manning who reinvented himself and came and taught everybody how to dance. And that's the reason why we're here today.
Oh yeah, he was the best. And he loved what he was doing. He did it, he was wonderful with it. And a lot of people complain the fact that we don't have any black dancers. And I said, and I used to have to defend Frankie because the fact most of his students were white kids. Yeah, because white kids paid Frankie to teach them. And that's how it began, and I thought it made a lot of sense. And I thank the white community for paying for that, because that's the reason why I'm here. I'm carrying on where Frankie left off, to let you know the importance of what that man did. The world dances today because of Frankie Manning.
A little bit of a long section. I'm trying to make it into a question, but it's about the difference of today's dancing compared to back when you were dancing with the Whiteys. It's more of, I heard this talk with Peter Loggins back in Castle Camp a month ago.
Go right ahead.
Where he was talking about the difference between today's dancing and the dancing back in your day. And it's more about what major differences do you see between what we do here on the dance floor, as well as Harang, as well as every other festival that we have, compared to what you did back in your days? Because Peter said that one of the old-timers back in Harang once said to him that, why are these people dancing like they're being paid for it? And it kind of sparked a kind of... I started to wonder about it. What was it like back when you were social dancing back then compared to when we...
Are you speaking about when I was dancing at Peter Loggins #1 never was even there. Peter Loggins never saw Lindy Hop till 1937 when we took Lindy Hop to California. Remember, all Lindy Hop came out of the Savoy Ballroom. Nobody saw Lindy Hop unless you came to the ballroom. We had to literally carry the Lindy Hop cross country. So when we got to Hollywood in 1937, that was the first time they saw professional Lindy Hoppers. Remember, you always had social dancing. We were people who were professional dancers. That's how you got the name Whitey's Lindy Hoppers. We were a dance act with Ethel Waters in 1937. We left New York, traveled across the country. Every night we'd go to a nightclub and exhibit the dance called the Lindy Hop, because you didn't have any computers or cell phones. So that's the only way they saw it. Peter Loggins came in after, many years later, and he came in with the Balboa. He doesn't do Lindy Hop. He can, but he was never a Lindy Hop on our level. And I know Peter Loggins very well. I've heard his speeches, but he didn't. We dance socially, and today's dances, I say, are just as good as we were, because socially, you're enjoying the same music. That's what makes a dancer, the music. Now you got the music, you got digital. And I hear Count Basie today, he sounds better today than he did when we were coming up. Does that answer your question?
I think that was a little bit slight turn on, but we can discuss it afterwards probably. It's a little bit of a long...
Social dancing is something you enjoy. That's what we did. We enjoyed. We had a lot of fun. Today, you are doing the social dancing and you are having fun. And I see it in your faces. You enjoy it. That's all dancing is. Now, if you want to be the professional, now we're going into another category. Social dancing isn't professional. You don't have to be professional. You enjoy the music, and that's what we create, that era. And we see, what I see on the dance floor is as good as what we did when we were on the dance floor. And sweetie, I was on the dance floor long before Peter Loggins. And I know it all better than Peter Loggins. I enjoy you as much as I did doing it. I can't do it anymore. But believe me, I have as much fun watching you do it. So please dance tonight and have your own damn good fun.
Talking about the old days, I do not know how many of people you know that she was actually in the Max Brothers movie A Day at the Races. In
1937.
In Day på Bridløbsbanen.
A fantastic movie.
I agree to that.
Thank you.
Could you tell a bit about your participation in that movie?
Well, that was the tour that we took with Ethel Waters, and we got to California at the Paramount Theater. And at the time, in the meantime, they had been making a movie with the Marx Brothers called Day at the Races. So they saw our scene, the Lindy Hop with Ethel Waters. They brought us in to do the dance in the movie to end the scene that they had. They had a big colored scene. We were called colored in those days. Okay. So they had this big colored scene. Ivy Anderson, Joy Brown brought us in to close the scene out, and that's how you got Day at the Races, 1937. Helter Poppin' was 1941. That was the difference.
And I would like to tell something that maybe some of you doesn't know yet, that in Day at the Races, right after Norma's number, there was another couple entering, and that was her sister dancing.
Dot, yeah.
Dot.
We do a number to
Norma's
her
sister.
tonight in my repertoire, because I do a tribute to Dot.
She was dancing in the movie as well, but she didn't keep on dancing.
No, listen, the kind of schedule had, nobody would have done it but a nut, and that's what we were nuts.
You used to say, you say something that really impressed me, because you say we all imagine the music show business, the bands, the dancers, Lindy Hop dancers, and everything was great. So the whitest Lindy Hoppers were dancing and traveling all over the world.
Right.
But you say that you were considered, I mean, you dancers, as the last, we used to say the last wheel of the track.
Right.
Like the peones, because the musicians they came first, and every other act came first. So you Lindy Hoppers you were the best on stage.
Right.
You are the top, but by the music business you were considered as not really. No, I don't mean word for, but.
We were dancers. Listen,
yes.
Dancers were and is still low man on the totem pole. You see, you got to have a group of dancers where you take a Justin Bieber, a singer, one singer can make $1 million in one day. So it's the difference is the fact, the economics of dancers, you have to pay a group wherein you're a singer, you got one person. Why you think I'm singing?
And that's tough.
That's
tough.
Okay.
That's tough because then, as you said, you have to, every time you are a choreographer, so every time you have to do a new choreography, start a new choreography, and when you're on stage for a number, that's it.
That's it.
It's not okay. I can play. I'm a musician. I can play 20 songs.
You can't record it. You can't put a choreographed number on a CD. So that answers your question. Yeah, and you can put a song. And if the world likes the song becomes what they would ordinarily call a hit, which I hope I can have a hit out of one of these damn numbers I got out here. But listen, that's life for you in general. I was a dancer. I lived the life of a dancer all my life. I've never done anything else. I didn't know how to do nothing else. So dancing was what I did, and when I couldn't do it anymore, I became a writer. And when I did that, from a writer, went to be whatever it takes to stay alive and recreate it. And then in the 80s, I started working again with Frankie to what he wanted to do. He came back and became the world's greatest dance teacher, and that's why we got Lindy hopping around the world today.
You didn't mention one thing you did in the 70s, because you were the first black comedian.
Yeah, well, I worked with Red Fox.
Comedian in Las Vegas, the first black female stand-up comedian. She was. You can find something on YouTube.
Well, I wrote the first book on the Red Fox Encyclopedia of Black Humor, and I wrote that on all the black comedians, which included at that time Sammy Davis Jr., Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby. Every black comedian at that time is in that book, and that's what the book I wrote about. And then the next book I wrote, because me and Red Fox had a fallout, so the next book I wrote was what I know about. I wrote Swinging at the Savoy, which was all about the Savoy, which began the whole career in swing dancing again. And that's how that happened. But you get these mistakes in life, and you got to, like my mother said, when something go wrong, hell, when you ain't got a horse, you ride a car.
And that's your secret. That's her secret, because she's here almost 98. In the 2nd of December, she will be 98, and she's still thinking new things, writing songs, writing books. Because you cannot stop Norma Miller. Really, you cannot stop.
Why stop? I mean, why stop with this? Why not go all the way? I got birthday parties on my 100th birthday around the world. So.
I got one question here.
Yes, dear.
So you lived across the Savoy. Was that the reason you started dancing?
Oh no, I've always danced. Even before that. Oh yeah. Well, I used to do my mother's house rent parties. In the days of when it was difficult to get money for rent, my mother used to give parties, and in the house, and people paid to come in to drink that bad whiskey and whatnot. And I was a 5-year-old entertainer. I used to work for ice cream. I'd get a dish of ice cream, and I was my mother's entertainer. So I've always was a dancer. Lindy Hop came many years later, but I was part of the rebirth of a dance that was created in Harlem, and I was part of that creative policy. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I feel like I could listen to you talk the entire evening.
Thank you.
But I'd also like to hear you sing.
I'd like to do that too. When you want me to sing? The band will be going on. What time does the band go on?
In 15 minutes.
The band goes on in 15 minutes.
I was wondering, because the Savoy Ballroom is obviously long gone, and
Yes.
but you've been traveling so many places and seen so many dance scenes. And
Yes.
I was wondering if there was any time or any place where you felt this is like it was in Savoy, and if you could recommend us going there.
Yeah, go to Mecca, which is Harang. They say they call it Mecca, but where we were last week was fantastic. Go to Milan when we go to Milan in Italy. It's fantastic. It's a recreated of an era that I'm very familiar with. It was fantastic last week. You should have been there. Okay, all right. Yeah.
We got one over here as well.
Okay.
You said you danced as a child.
Yeah.
What was your first memory of inspiration to dance rather than any other entertainment?
Charleston. Everybody did the Charleston when I was a kid. I was the world's greatest Charleston dancer. That's what you did when you were by yourself. But Charleston was the dance of the era, of the 20s. So that's what I did, yeah. And I was good.
Apparently.
I was.
Could you tell about two other dancers, the Peabody and Shaq?
Well, the Peabody was the foxtrot. Irene Castle created this dance called the Peabody. Frankie and I used to do it. We called it the swing walk. We used to do it as an alternative to the Lindy. And who was the other one you asked about?
The Shaq dancing.
Well, the Shag came in 1938, which was a wide leg type of thing. But in California, they took the dance and named it Balboa because Sylvia Sykes and Jonathan, they was working with a man called, what's his name? The guy that, do you know his name, Roberta? Anyway, they took the dance and took the shag and called it the Balboa. And that's what, it's around in all the workshops now. You can do that now. But the Balboa is a takeoff on the shag, which Arthur Murray created in New York.
Have you ever worked with Arthur Murray?
No. We used to go up against his dancers. We ran them out of the Rainbow Room. He came to New York with a dance called Dig This. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Doing the Lamp-Worth Walk. Hoy! He come to New York with that. We ran him out of the Rainbow Room. But he was the smartest dance teacher ever. He was the only one got rich. That was Arthur Murray. I mean, he had a franchise that was big. We never even thought of something like that. But that's what, he retired to Hawaii rich, and there you are. That was Arthur Murray, yeah.
Any other questions out there?
Hey, hurry up.
Hurry up. One over here, please.
Yo.
Yeah, I was just thinking about did you have a family? Did you have like kids dancing, and how does that influence on your family?
I'm a spinster.
You're spinster.
I never got married. I told Frankie he had no right getting married, but you know. No, I'm an old maid. I don't call myself an old maid because my mother used to wonder what was wrong with me. And I told her I was going to be a spinster. So you say, well, what the heck is the difference? I say, the difference is admitting to the world you're an old maid. It's like telling the world you have grown old on the vine and you ain't been plucked.
Difference though.
I have been plucked. My resume used to say when I began healthy, you know, Norma Miller, I was a healthy, sexless, and single when I was 15. At 97, my resume said, Norma Miller, healthy, sexless, and single. There you go. No, I never had any kids, but I taught a whole lot of them. And I said, you little kids, I raised a whole lot of your kids because they wanted to dance. When they came to me, they learned how. And they learned a lot of things of what you should do to survive in a business that's very difficult, especially for women. But that's what we do, and that's how I survived.
And the lesson was for those who get involved, men and women.
Yeah.
When there was a couple forming within your dance, what happened?
Never, no couples. Boy and girl together couldn't be in our act. No, it's not a good idea to be a dancer and be your partner, dance with him. It's not good. So with us, it wasn't allowed. Because I had a dancing partner for 30 years, but he was married to another woman. So our relationship was always good because we worked on dancing. But when you get involved with a relationship and dancing, you get confused. You don't know how to separate it. So when you have a professional act, you just can't afford it. So in my act, when we began a couple, one of them had to go. With me, it was Chaz. He stayed with me. The girl he married had to leave. She went and had 4 babies. That's what happened with couples.
Have you got any final advices for upcoming dancers or newly into this environment of Lindy Hop?
Yeah, swing. Listen to the music and have fun. That's all it is. It's a dance. It ain't nothing special. Enjoy it. If you like Count Basie, great. If you like Chick Webb, great. Listen to what your passion is and do it to what you want to do it to. But have fun and have a good time. That's what Lindy Hop means. I try to spread joy and happiness around the world.
Thank you, Norma. Miss Norma Miller. And tonight she will be glad to sign books and records you hopefully gonna buy. Here you met the Queen of Swing, Miss Norma.
Thank you very much. Yes, exactly. As most of you already started, please help us stack the chairs on the appropriate